In a world where hopium and common sense collide, starring the CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. Welcome to Debate Crypto. Question everything, trust nothing. It's your boy, CryptoKeeper, BlockchainCrusader, and we got a special guest in the house tonight. It is MoneyMark. What's going on, Mark? How you doing, bro?
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Doing well. Blessed here, man. I'm blessed.
Glad to see you, bro. Hey, Miguel, I'm basically just going to hand it off to you, bro, since I'm going to be in the debate this evening. It's going to be a little different tonight, guys. I'm actually on the hot seat with Mark, and yeah, so I'm going to hand it off to Miguel.
That's right. So we got it today, right? We got the securities debate. What's going on? Is it going to be crypto? Is going to be securities? The whole debate with, XRP, the sledgehammer dropping from the SEC. So we're going to be diving into all those details tonight, guys. So just to start off, let's for the public, for the people watching that might not know what a security is, right? Mark, can you tell the audience what is a security and explain it to them?
Absolutely. So the short end of the stick, right? Because if we look at securities, we look at what the SEC describes as a security. There's a lot of gray area, believe it or not. So people aren't really sure what a security is, what it's not, and is crypto a security or not. So the simplest definition that I can come up with is a financial instrument that can be traded, right, as a security and offer the possibility of profit or loss, right? So you can have either profit or loss, and so it's a vehicle of exchange for profit or loss. So it's an investment platform.
Thank you. That's a great answer. And with the question of what is a security comes with what is the Howie test, right? How do you determine what is a security? So Nick, take it away.
Yeah, so actually the debate is done. Mark just did my whole job for me and let us know that cryptocurrencies are all securities. He just went through that right now. No, so the Howie test. So the Howie test is essentially it's a 4-prong test, and it has questions, right? And ultimately what it wants to know is, does an investment contract exist? And what I mean by investment contract is, hey, is this a security? So it asks these questions. 1, is it an investment of money? 2, in a common enterprise, which is like a company or a single focused entity interest, if you will. Number 3, with the expectation of profit. And number 4, to be derived from the efforts of others, which would be like a business activity happening within which creates value. So basically those 4 questions need to be answered. And the way that it works is that if the contract satisfies or passes, it says yes to all 4 of those, the Howie test, then it's therefore a securities transaction. If any one of those 4, at least the way that things are written now, does not get answered with a yes, then it fails the Howie test and therefore is not a securities transaction.
Yeah. So do you know how the Howie test came to be, Nick?
I know that it was a lawsuit back in 1942, something like that. I think
it was against the Howie company, and so this company had 2 separate divisions. They owned orange orchard, right? And so they were producing oranges, and then they owned also the services that cultivated the oranges. And so as they went to go sell their orange field, they had kind of like a contractual agreement that their services would also come along with that. But they didn't want anybody to touch or modify the orange fields because they wanted to do everything themselves. They just wanted people that bought into their product to receive some benefit, of financial benefit in the long run, basically, to get rewarded for it. So that's when the SEC came in and was like, you guys have an unauthorized security. We're going to put the hammer down on you. And they ended up obviously, winning that battle because the courts ended up throwing it out. But it was interesting while I was looking into all this stuff. It was a cool story how it all came to be.
Well, it looks like Mark went a step beyond what I did and actually looked into the why. Where the heck did this come from? So let's give Mark a round of applause right off the bat.
Where's that little voting thing, right? You tap on the screen, I get more votes. There you go.
Right. Yeah. So guys, everybody in the chat right now, thank you so much for showing up for this debate, right? The debate's about to get started, right? First question is coming up real soon. But if you guys think that a cryptocurrency or any cryptocurrency in specific is a security, drop a 1 in the chat. If you think, hey, cryptos are no way that they are security, I want to see those 2s in the chat, guys. So drop that real quick as we hit the first question up here. So first question, right? And by the way, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, shared the stream, come on, guys.
Fix it.
Yeah. Let's get the ball rolling. So
Let's
first
go.
question, right? First question is, why do you believe or don't believe that cryptocurrencies, as a general rule, are securities? Mark, take it away.
All right, so here's my stance on crypto, okay? And I think a lot of people would agree with me when it comes to cryptocurrencies. I used to be heavily involved in crypto back in the rush of 2018. Between 2017, 2019, I did a lot. I met a lot of cool people. I went to a lot of conferences. The consensus was that crypto is not a security. And so that's the stance that I'm taking. In my opinion, if you look at the original white paper of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, his original intent to create Bitcoin was a means of exchange. It was to be a currency. That's obviously, it's in the freaking name, right? Cryptocurrency. It's not crypto security. And so the SEC and the government is trying to put the smackdown on Bitcoin and other digital currencies because they want, what do they want, guys? Crypto is supposed to be decentralized. It's supposed to give the people the power, but what the governments are trying to do, they're coming to lay the smackdown. They want to take control and take the power. So in my opinion, as far as all the research that I've done, I believe wholeheartedly that crypto needs to be, and it just needs to be a form of currency rather than a security. So I don't believe crypto are currencies at the end of the day. Long-winded answer, but that's my answer.
Nice. So you don't believe that cryptos are, you believe they're currencies?
I believe they're currencies. Yes, I believe they're currencies.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. So with that being said, Nick, take it away. Why do you think that cryptos are securities, right? You, of all people, right? Big XRP holder over here. You know I hate XRP, right? And I left it, I don't need to say it again. You know how I feel about XRP. And you hold a big bag. So now you're coming out here and debating that they are securities. So why should the SEC drop the hammer on XRP and just obliterate it? Tell me. I would love to hear from you.
Okay, so let's be clear. I want anything other than the hammer getting dropped on XRP, so to speak. Obviously, because I am a big holder. But when someone asks me a question, and I've been clear about this for a long time, like if you ask me a direct question, I do believe, I will say this on the front end, I think there is a little bit of gray there, right? But I think it really lies within Bitcoin. If I'm truly honest and I had no money involved whatsoever, and I was super honest with myself for what it looks like at face value, I think XRP is a security. Okay. So let me tell you why though. And I'll tell you why later, kind of why I think that Bitcoin's maybe the only kind of gray area there, which I know Miguel just makes you just feel all good and warm inside. So here's the simple part. I talked about the Howie test a little bit ago. As of right now, the Howie test is still the ball game in town. It is still what the SEC uses to say, hey, this is a security or it's not, right? Ultimately, almost all cryptocurrencies pass the Howie test, right? So let's talk about the SEC real quick. The purpose of the SEC is to protect the public from, and it doesn't have to be false or misleading, but it's basically to protect the public from basically people making promises or companies making promise to make them money, right? And so crypto is given opportunity for people to, whether it's defrauding them or not, it gives people the possibility of and the probability of making money, right? So whether it's misleading or not, there is that hope and plan in making money while investing it, right, in a common enterprise. And it does come from the efforts of others, i.e. like business activities, which have created value in the form of crypto. So even though it hurts my soul to say it, if we're looking at the Howie test, it answers the questions. It does. So that's kind of where I stand on it.
So I'm glad to hear that from you, that yes, they are, or at least XRP, right, is. And I do like that you defended my boy Bitcoin, right? That is not a security.
There you go.
So it's all about that decentralization away from the bank system, right? That's what the real definition is. So we do have a super chat here that I want to bring up. So it's going to be a little bit, and then you'll have a chance, Mark, to rebuttal. Actually, let's go into the rebuttal first. rebuttal Nick on what you think he just finished saying about the SEC.
Yeah. So as much as it's like I'm caught in a rock and a hard place right now, because, if the SEC wins the battle and they force XRP and Ripple's hand into becoming, a security, it's going to protect a lot of people in the long run, right? So regulation does end up protecting and saving people from a lot of freaking mess and a lot of hardship and people coming in and scamming and promising the world. And so, I'd like to start off by saying, hey, this is not financial advice, right? So we're not giving financial advice right here. But at the end of the day, although regulations can be good, the whole idea of cryptocurrency and decentralized platforms were to, again, I go back to my original statement, give the power back to the people rather than for the government to have the power. Because history will teach you that when governments have lots of control, that the people end up suffering. I mean, not to get in a tangent or a rabbit trail, but we can see what's happening in Canada right now. The government has too much control. What are they trying to do? They're trying to go and freeze the accounts of the protesters that are trying to fight for their freedom. And so if my time's up, but if the government can do it for Canada, then the government can do it for America. And so that's my time.
So, okay. So I totally agree with the idea that it is been designed and made for the people. And that was the whole great idea behind crypto. Unfortunately, in the specific instance that we were just talking about, I hate to say Miguel is correct that, XRP absolutely doesn't fall under that. It is a centralized company.
Which one does
it is a centralized company, right? It's not that I don't want to make money off of, but it's a centralized company that has offered out a product for that other people decided, hey, you know what, I can make some money off of that, especially the banks, but a lot of us. But let me say this, the decentralized part, it doesn't really matter if it's decentralized or not. Let me kind of give you a quick example. Coca-Cola, at this point, when Coca-Cola first came out, they were a centralized company pushing out Coke. Now, every freaking person around the world has their hands in some way of pushing out Coca-Cola, no matter where it's at, right? Mm-hmm. That doesn't change the fact that at its core and at its start, it's a security, right? It is a centralized figure that's offering that up. And so as much as it pains me sometimes to say it, that decentralization, just doesn't always do that.
I like to just say that due to the Coca-Cola example, the one problem is that countries can come after Coca-Cola no matter how decentralized they are all around the world. They can't come after Bitcoin. They can't do nothing to touch Bitcoin.
True.
So
until we find out that Bitcoin was created by a centralized entity, i.e. the government.
Well,
you threw that in there. That was a little wrench right there.
Yeah, it's never going to be worse than XRP. Let me tell you that. But let's address the question here for the super chat, Clifton. We greatly appreciate you bringing up this question, right? So the question is, before we jump into the question number 2, let's take this question on, guys. How does the SEC decide who they go after, and if they always settle prior to trial, when will it stop? So, Mark, take that away.
Yeah, so the SEC looks at, obviously, there's several other tests that are required in order to look at securities, but obviously the bigger one is the Howie Test, right? So a lot of these crypto companies or crypto projects or crypto ICOs, what they do is they'll create and develop their token first, and then they'll find a use case for it after. And because they create their token first and they're using it as that, way of almost giving shares out of their company, the SEC immediately comes in and says, hey, this is a security, no question about it. And that's who they try to go after. When we went through the 2019, SEO, what is it called? The not the IPO, the ICO, hype that everybody was buying into ICOs. 90% of those companies got shut down by the SEC because they were all acting as securities. They weren't being regulated, and so they got the hammer brought down on them. So it's just one of those things. They look for obviously projects that aren't following the rules and aren't completely decentralized. If you have a CEO and a founder, 9 times out of 10, that CEO and founder has a lot of control and can go in and manipulate the system anytime they want.
Dude, I love it. I love it. Exactly what I bring up about XRP, right? It's all about their own situation, right? It's about they're not out here trying to make financial freedom for people, right? They're a company, and their whole thing is empowering banks in the traditional system to come into the
Miguel, the
crypto space
XRP
as the
debate was
Trojan horse.
weeks ago. The
Oh, I
XRP debate was
understand,
weeks ago,
but
right? Not
it falls under into this whole situation, right? It falls under this whole securities. We
Right.
cannot ignore XRP in this debate at all,
yeah,
right?
I agree.
So do you have anything to add, Nick, to that
Yeah.
super chat question?
Yeah. So great question. Thank you guys for the thank you for the support. Appreciate it. Ultimately, I think it's a little bit more insidious. I think and feel that the SEC's main motivation is kind of like ultimately our government's right now, and it is money and it is power and control. And so I think that, like Mark said, anyone that has that CEO or that central figurehead is a possibility, is a possible target. And unfortunately, I think that they are looking to expose those vulnerabilities. And let's be real, Ripple is a massive company worth a massive amount of money that can pay out massive amounts of fines, whether they win, lose, or draw, right? And ultimately, the SEC, I do believe, does want to protect people, but at the same time, they too are a figure in the governmental space that wants to have more power, more control, and more money. And unfortunately, I think they're going to be looking for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
100%. I completely agree, right? So jumping on to the second question, right? We were talking about XRP, the polarizing topic, how we cannot be ignored in this security debate. So what does it look like if the case is won by the SEC, Nick? Take that away.
Okay. So you're saying, hold on a second, are you saying if the SEC wins, or are you saying if XRP wins? Because you want both sides of it, right?
Yeah, both sides of it, but you're arguing pro securities. So what if the SEC wins, right?
So
And proves that it is a security?
Yeah. So in the case of a loss for XRP, or I should say a win for the SEC, here's the deal. You guys just need to be prepared for this. XRP itself is not going to be erased. Okay. Ripple does not have control over, much of the, at that point, it would be, stocks, securities, an extremely high percentage. And this is a fact. I looked this up. An extremely high percentage of XRP holders are based abroad. If you ever pay attention on TikTok, a lot of guys and gals that are abroad love XRP. A lot of it is overseas, right? Where the SEC has, guess what? No jurisdiction. The digital asset would remain delisted in the US exchanges. It already is, right? But probably not. And it wouldn't be in other countries. And, no other regulators have tried to sue XRP as of yet. I think it's interesting. Garlinghouse has previously mentioned, right, his intention of moving its headquarters overseas in case of a loss. He's talked about moving to Singapore. Here's the deal, just to kind of tie this in a nice little bow. The reality is, if the SEC wins this case, if they actually outright win it, it will crush initially the value of XRP, but it's not going to go away. I actually talked to a family member who is an attorney and asked him, like, what would happen in that case, right? Where if XRP does get crushed and I've bought all this XRP, and essentially, though there's no guarantee on this, it would essentially be almost like a class action lawsuit had been put on XRP, and they would owe out monies to all of the holders that bought that unregistered security, as it were, on the front end. Now, none of you are probably going to like it. I might be one of the only people that, not only, but I might be one of the few people that would actually, be okay with it, because I bought most of my XRP so cheap, but it would be pennies on the dollar. It would not be anything that people would be. I'll tell you this, it won't be any freaking $589 XRP. I'll tell you that much. So it would crush it, but it wouldn't actually finish it.
Yeah, that's a good question, but it might not disappear. But you're talking about being international, all these XRP holders over abroad, and how XRP can continue doing business abroad. How's that been holding up the XRP price these past couple of years? Not very well, let me tell you, not very well. So all that abroad chatter and XRP hope, let's leave that for the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
So, Mark, same question for you, right?
Yeah.
I said, what if XRP wins instead of the SEC? What does that mean for the case? What would that mean for cryptos
Okay.
in general for the future, right? If
Sure.
XRP wins the lawsuit.
Well, I wanted to talk about if XRP loses, man, because
Come on.
obviously the price would tank, right? The price would tank, and when the price tanks, look at what happened to the stock market. If a price tanks in the stock market on a major company, that company could go out of business or go under or have to file bankruptcy or whatever the case may be. So if that happens with XRP and they're acting as a centralized kind of agency or bank, or institution, their price is going to drop so low, people are just going to pull out, man. There's no diamond hands at the end of the day when the price goes down 60, 70%. People are going to go to the next best shiny thing. All right, so let me rant over there. If XRP wins, okay, obviously we're looking at the price increase, right? We're going to look at price increase. We're going to look at the price of XRP going up. We're going to look at Nick probably buying a new, headquarters somewhere for his companies, and a new house and a new truck maybe. And maybe he'll grow his beard a little longer. I don't know. But if the price goes up, there's going to be a lot of happy people, obviously. So if XRP ends up winning the case and they're not considered a security, sky's the limit for XRP, man. And that's gonna make more room for other companies out there and other cryptos to follow suit and to fight the SEC and to fight the government to become, the next best crypto.
So I'll give you a little extra time, and I want you to go into details about what it looks like for other cryptos in general, right? Because now people are like, oh, well, what if Ethereum is a security, right? And so forth. So I'll give you a little extra time to go into.
And I want to touch on that. I want to touch on that too after. I want to touch on that.
You already got your time.
You'll get your time, XRP Maxi. Get out of here.
Yeah. So all right. So cool. 30 seconds on the clock. If XRP becomes God status and wins over the SEC, it's going to make way. It's going to make way for other companies. We're going to probably see another ICO boom like we saw, several years ago, where other companies are now going to try to take the throne of XRP. XRP may move up to, I don't know, 2, 3 of the market cap. Who knows in the long run how far XRP can go up in price, but it's definitely going to make way. They're going to make history, and other people are going to follow suit in trying to, be the next best crypto. But that means institutions are going to start adopting them. Banks are going to start adopting them more than they already have. They could essentially easily take over the Swift transaction platform within the banks that move money from one account to another. So there's a lot of possibilities in there.
That's nice. So, Nick, here's your time to shine. Give me your XRP spiel.
Yeah. So ultimately, I guess I agree with Mark a lot on that. I'm not going to speculate on the price, because the reality is, just like we don't know which way the market's going right now, nobody knows what this price could get to, because the difference between, taking over the Swift system and just being an incredibly successful, cryptocurrency is a massive difference there, right? And so ultimately, I do believe, though, that the biggest thing, I think it would be bigger for the rest of the space than it even would be for XRP. So XRP's price is going to explode. I'm going to make tons of money. A lot of people are going to make tons of money. Everybody's going to be all as well with the world at that point. But I think it's bigger for the rest of crypto, because it literally lays out a red carpet and says, hey, look, this was the epitome of possibly what a security would look like in the crypto space. And if they're not, then let's play ball, baby. And I think that a lot of people would be actually throttling. They'd be putting their foot on the gas and pushing harder and harder to make more and more money out in the space.
Mark, you got anything to rebuttal on what he just finished saying?
Unfortunately, I kind of agree what he said. That's probably the route it's going to take for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let me jump here into the next question. So next question.
Oh, but hey, Miguel, real quick.
Go ahead.
I need to tell the reality, though. The reality is somewhere in between there. The reality is that they're going to settle, right? They're going to leave things super ambiguous to enable the SEC to continue to go after other cryptocurrencies and take money and power from them as well. That's what I believe is going to happen. I believe it is about money, power, respect, like Biggie said, right? And ultimately, they're going to settle, and they're going to leave things just super gray, because that allows them to go after.
Yeah. Oh, gray area, 100% sure. Yeah, gray area all the way, because gray means you still have control. And so even if they're able to lose that case, the SEC lose that case, they're still going to want to have some of that gray area, because gray area still means they have a little bit of control, and nobody knows what is what. And so that causes confusion. And when there's confusion, there's control.
100%. I just want to say, when your whole Biggie thing about power and respect, the one and only, it's Bitcoin, right? So I'm glad you admit it. Nicholas, we got Nicholas here with a super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat, Nicholas. He says, Cloud coins decentralized, 100% untraceable. It's quantum safe. It's free to send it to it. It's not operating on the blockchain. It uses Rada tech, which I've never heard of, and is more efficient, and it's not mineable. It's recoverable if lost by running a node on Rada tech. Thank you so much for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. We'll definitely have to look into that. I really have no idea about what the cloud coins and Rada tech is.
Yeah.
But
do you know anything about that, Mark? I honestly, I don't.
I don't. Nope. That's something I'll have to definitely research.
Nicholas, we appreciate the support, brother, and we would talk about it a little bit, but we literally just don't have any experience with it. So yeah, sorry, man.
Yep.
Exactly. So let's jump into here the next question. So next question up is, what would it take for you to take the opposite stance that you currently have when it comes to the securities classification? Take it away, Nick.
You know what? I think the best way I can answer that is, it's not event based. Okay. I've talked about this a little bit before. It's not based on an event. If this happened, then this. For me, it's interpretation of the English language. Okay. Mark was talking about earlier this gray area, right? And it's interpretation of a language. It's a vague idea. So let's use the Constitution, for example. Okay. There are people that you would call a constructionist, right? And they believe that the exact wording of the Constitution means exactly what it says. And then there are others that are basically looking at the wording and then interpreting out what they believe that to mean. In the case of, believing something is or isn't a security, it really is like, if you're a constructionist, and this is how I see it. If you're a constructionist, which means you see word for word what it says is what it means, you got to look back. This case was in like 1942 or whatever, the Howie Test. So let's be real. It's outdated. Okay. The idea of cryptocurrencies wasn't even a blip on anyone's radar. It was not even a fathomed idea. Okay. And so we've pressed forward 80 years, right? And we have this thing sitting in front of us that's getting questions answered from, or you're answering questions that happened 80 years ago with no concept or idea of what it is today. And so ultimately, it's going to depend on who's reading it and what they take it to mean. Are you a constructionist and you believe it word for word? If you do, I believe that almost every cryptocurrency is going to be considered a security. However, because it was 80 years ago, I believe that the majority of people are going to want to interpret that, especially lawyers. They're really good at that, right? And the ultimately then you have that gray area. So for me, it's not event-based. It's, hey, do you interpret it as a constructionist, or are you evaluating it for what it really means?
Your time's up.
Yep, time's up. My bad. The timer was flicking out. So, man, you're talking about 80 years, and then you're bringing the Howie Test up to question. But are you questioning the Constitution, my friend? The Constitution is a lot older than 80 years.
I'm saying that that ultimately the Constitution can be read in different ways, and you do have people that read it different ways. Does it mean word for word what it says, or am I interpreting what it means? So I think
when you leave things up for interpretation, that's the way that the lawyers like to
nobody has to question what your stance on XRP is, Miguel. So there's no interpretation there, right?
I don't leave things up for interpretation. Sorry. I'm clear cut about exactly what I mean,
black and
how
white,
I say it. No muddy for the water for the lawyers to twist my words. I am 100% clear on this.
Well, that's the problem. The problem is that the lawyers will interpret the law, they'll interpret the Constitution, they'll interpret the Howie Test, people still interpret even the Bible, right? And
well,
so
you're interpreting. How are you interpreting? Because if you're not constructionist, right? Because you're telling me that you don't think they're securities. So you are interpreting this in a certain way. So how does that look?
well, I agree. That's the whole kind of gray area here. There's always going to be gray area because there's always going to be a different interpretation. I think the original intent was to be considered a currency, and so all cryptos were trying to follow suit of the original crypto. But I just saw a chat here. What if XRP is a Trojan horse to overtake the legacy system? Who knows who created? Like people say, who knows who created Bitcoin? What if it was a government agency? Well, it's more likely that a government agency created XRP Ripple than Bitcoin, in my personal opinion. So what would change my stance? I mean, obviously, if the SEC put the smack down and forced Ripple to be a security, obviously we would have no choice. We would have to follow suit because if we didn't, we would face legal action, right? So there will be those, patriots that stand their ground and want to, stay, free and do whatever they want to do with their crypto. But for the majority of people, they're sheep. They just follow what's being told to them. And so if it ends up being a security, obviously, I'll have to be one of those people who are just say, all right, it's a security. There's nothing we can really do about it. You know what I mean?
Are you calling yourself a sheep?
I mean, at times I'm a lion all the way, but at times there's just so much you can do when you have so much freaking control in the government. It's just one of those things.
Nick, only sheep buy XRP. So let's not.
I think I saw a comment that also said that too, verbatim.
Yes,
so, yeah.
I think they've been watching me talk about XRP. Quite closely.
You have polluted a lot of brains.
I've awakened a lot of brains from the XRP cult brainwash of money taking over the world and SWIFT system and new world currency, new world reserve currency. Yeah, they need to stop sipping.
Let me just rebut on one thing Mark said. I agree with what he's saying as it relates to, hey, if they knock the hammer down and you just kind of are between a rock and a hard place. But what I do believe where the difference lies is that there is power in numbers. We do have more power than we believe. And unfortunately, I feel like we live in a world today also where people start to feel a little bit of pressure and they cave because of convenience. And so I believe that if enough people said, absolutely not, and we're able to act now, if they start, just taking, shutting down your accounts and you have no, because some of the craziness that they're doing right now, obviously, like if they just do that and they take that, but they're pushing towards what would be a revolution. And I think sometimes saying nothing is speaking loudly. And I think we need to more speak loudly instead of just keeping to ourselves and allowing, us to be pushed around when ultimately we've worked hard for this. We hold these assets with a future in mind, and I don't want to let somebody take them away from me. The reality is, we can talk about this later, but the security side of things could be really good for the space as well. So we'll get into that later. But so just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, you got anything to say, Mark, or before moving on to the next question?
No, let's move on to the next question because I can go talk about this all night long. So let's try to stay focused, man.
All right. So next question this is exactly what Nick was just talking about, right? If cryptos are seen as securities, would that push for further decentralization? Will this be a net positive or negative for the markets? Mark, take it away.
See, I think if crypto is seen as a security, yes, 100% it would push for further decentralization because these other cryptos, these other projects, these other, I guess, founders, right, would try to keep their crypto from becoming a security. So it would definitely push for further decentralization. There will probably be some, and here's the thing, at the end of the day, guys, listen, crypto is not the end all be all. I just want to let you guys know that. I'm sorry to burst some people's bubble, but listen, there will be an alternative version of crypto. There will be a crypto 2.0 or something bigger and better in a decade from now.
Blasphemy.
Listen, they did it. They've been doing it for thousands of years. We used to use seashells as a form of monetary exchange. Now we're using digital coins, right? So in a progression of our future, looking back, we can learn a lot and know what's going to happen in the future. So that being said, I believe that decentralization is going to be a big push, but decentralizing what? Will it still be ones and zeros, or will it be something completely different that we don't even know about yet? So there'll definitely be a push for decentralization because nobody wants to be controlled by freaking big tech or the government ever. So at the end of the day, will it be a positive or negative? If cryptos are seen as a security, it will be, which side of the coin do I want to fall on? I think the original intent, it will be a negative for the original creation of what it was intended for.
Okay, so you think it's going to be negative if the cryptos are seen as security, even though
Yes,
Bitcoin is not
100%.
included in that because Bitcoin is already by word of people in the SEC that it is not a security.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, would that boost Bitcoin's price if Bitcoin is the only one that is not a security?
You asking me or are you asking?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would give Bitcoin more fire in its furnace and more wind in its sail to go where people are thinking it's going to go. 100,000, 300,000 plus in time, not right away, but I think it definitely will because Bitcoin's just call him Big Papa.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear.
That's it. Yeah.
So
sure.
Nick,
Another
right?
Biggie reference. All right, I love it.
Same question to you, right?
You know what? I think people are probably just going to be surprised by this whole, interaction this evening. But I actually am going the exact opposite direction. It actually would be an overall net positive for the space, and I actually don't think that it could be further from a positive. Let me speak on it real quick. Okay, so decentralization is a great thing on its face, right? Like when you first look at it, it's beautiful, right? But there are a bunch of challenges that decentralization, the entities face as it relates to speed, execution, when, where, and how to fix problems, fee structures, et cetera, right? So what it will be a net pot. Here's the thing. Net, depending on what you mean by that, I guess is kind of the wording there. It will be a massive net positive for those that are able to survive and play ball with the SEC, right? So what I think is we've got 16,000 cryptocurrencies right now. I think that number immediately whittles down to, freaking 500. Like it would just absolutely collapse because the reality is the vast majority of speculation is on assets that are never going to be able to jump through the regulatory hoops of the SEC. Okay, that's just a fact. So those cryptos aren't going to be able to do that. But the ones that can play ball will be able to just absolutely take over. And let's go one step further. Some of the ones that won't be able to play ball, I think that they'll be able to package themselves and combine with some other cryptocurrencies to offer what is ultimately more of a like I said, a package, right?
Interesting.
So like you put together like a chain link on the Avalanche. So we're going to take information, we're going to put it on the Avalanche network. We're going to then, fee transactions are going to happen in
it's almost like acquisitions.
Yes, and they're gonna acquire and pull in a lot of these different assets, and they're going to become this big thing that ultimately would be a very profitable and formidable.
I'll give you 20 more seconds.
The
question of hold on to answer the question of will it push for more decentralization?
No.
Yes or no?
No, because I think that ultimately the people that all of these other companies that I'm talking about, all of these other cryptos that I'm talking about will understand the regulatory hoops that they have to jump through, and they're going to say, well, crap, I got to take my money and run. So it'll be a net negative for a little while because everybody's going to be scrambling, trying to get the heck out of the way and with as much money as they can. But then as those, as those assets join together and become, hey, we're able to be a security and jump through these hoops. Then it's positive because it's showing the legacy system, hey, look, now we've got something that is like legit, not just speculative.
Yeah, nothing's more legit than Bitcoin. So
can I rebuttal?
Yes, 100%, Mark. I want you to take it away and tell them why it will be definitely more decentralized.
So here's the thing: if crypto ends up being a security and looked at as a security, then there's no reason for crypto anymore. You might as well just start trading shells again. There's no reason for digital currency, because the way digital currency started was I can go ahead and send somebody in Afghanistan or Chile or China, $100, and it would almost be instantaneous. Not all the time, but that's the idea behind it. But if it becomes some type of security and acts as a stock or an exchange or a share of a company, then it's just like we're taking companies and we're just making them digital products at that point. So I think it's just going to be a money grab, right? So if they become securities, it's just going to be all about the money. Which companies can rise higher than the other and make more money, and the people who are going to hurt the most are going to be the middle class, us. It's going to be the lower middle class and those people who don't have freaking fund managers, managing millions of dollars in their assets. So we're going to be the ones that are going to get the short end of the stick on that one all over again. History is going to repeat itself.
So it's a really good wrong thought. So let me tell you why. Ultimately, the cryptocurrencies that are there today, most of them aren't currencies. They are technology. And so ultimately what's happening is all of these different technologies are coming to play to make a better world. I love cryptocurrency. I love what it's doing. But the reality is this: just because someone will accept it as value does not make it a currency. So like Ethereum, for example, my girlfriend, my lover, my baby, my side piece, whatever you want to call her, right? Everyone, she is essentially the internet of blockchains, right? Everybody's building on top of her. Now, I see value in that, so I will take that if somebody says, hey, I'll pay you, this much ETH to do this, that, or the third. But that doesn't make ETH a currency. And so what I think ultimately we're talking about is, what technology are you bringing to the table? And I'm investing in that technology. The reality is, when I invest in something like Ethereum, why is it so great? Well, there's a lot of problems with it, right? But I'm investing in the technology of the blockchain and the things that it can do.
But if you can pay somebody with crypto, then it's a currency. You can't pay somebody with Apple stocks.
I can pay somebody in drugs.
That one.
But no. But seriously, I could pay somebody with a guitar hanging on my wall.
Well, that could be looked at as a commodity. Then that's not a security.
Yeah, that's more of a bargaining tactic than anything.
That's a commodity, and so commodities can be used as.
Yeah. We're getting to the commodities question.
Yeah, gotcha.
I'm with you.
But that's a good point that Mark brings up, right? If you're paying people with it, it's more of a currency because it's something that people are widely accepting, right? Just like gold, people widely accept gold. Yeah. Gold was currency, right? So it's not like a one-off deal. A one-off deal where you're paying somebody this one time with a guitar or with drugs, as you said, right? That's a one-time deal. It's not going to be an everyday. You can walk outside and just say, "Hey, here you go. Take this." Most people won't take that.
Well,
right?
so then
people don't want to get paid in a guitar.
Then we can go down the rabbit trail of what's fungible, what's non-fungible, but we won't go into that debate during this session.
Oh yeah, we could go. I could go all night, baby. That's an interesting one too, for sure. I agree with you.
I'll have to come on as a guest another time.
Oh, dude, yeah, for sure.
100%.
Well, that's of course if the audience approves and likes this debate. So thumbs up if you like this debate so far, guys.
That's right. Smash a one in the chat if you enjoy seeing me body MoneyMark.
So I would personally say I believe that it would push for more decentralization, right? I think there would be a lot of companies or a lot of actors in the crypto space, whether they're developers or not, that don't want to fall under these regulations, that don't want to bend the knee to the traditional system, and they still, right, just like Bitcoin did, like DeFi is doing, right, try to steal power back away from the centralized system and bring it back to the people, and then work even harder to make decentralized applications, exchanges, whatever, better than what they currently are. And they would be heavily incentivized that if they don't do it the right way, and if they don't do it quick enough and make it as good as possible, then they're going to either lose market share or they're gonna come after them. So I think it would definitely push for more decentralization. It all depends on the type of actor that you are, right? If you are a bend the knee to authority kind of figure, and yes, whatever you the authority figure say, I will do because I don't want to get in trouble, and it doesn't matter about whether the law is just or not, then yes, you will stay with the XRP cult-like mentality. But if you don't believe that, and you believe like, I don't care if it's a law, it's not a just law, and I will protest or I will not comply with this law just because you say it's a law, those type of people will definitely push for more decentralization.
Yeah, and then Trudeau will just freeze your bank account. So
that's right.
Yeah.
But we won't need bank accounts at that point anymore, right? Because we got Bitcoin.
Did you guys see that the wallet that basically told the government to go F off?
Yes.
Oh,
They were like,
it was
that was
I
cool.
love that.
Hey, Mark, go ahead real quick, just as an aside. Do you know the story? I know
what's
it.
The name what's the name of the wallet?
I don't know the name of the wallet. I just know what they did.
I don't remember.
Somebody put it in the chat if you remember the name of the wallet. But anyway, it was a tweet somebody put out. Basically, Canadian government was like, we need you to freeze these people's accounts. And the wallet company basically said, hey, listen, we're a decentralized platform. And they basically said, hey, government, go and look up the terminology of what decentralized means. We don't know where the transactions are. We don't know anything but an email address. I guess they don't do KYC. I'm not really sure. But man, they knocked that.
But did you hear the best part of it? The best part was the tail end. The best part was they said, oh, and by the way, when the Canadian dollar goes down to zero, we'll be here
there for you too.
to support you.
The name of the wallet was Nunchuk.
Yes,
Nunchuk, something like that.
Nunchuk,
yeah. Epic.
Nunchuk.
Epic.
That was so good. That was so good. That's the way that it's supposed to be, guys.
Yes.
Decentralized, protecting the people, man.
Instead of bending the knee and saying, yes, I'll do whatever you say, no matter what, right? Yeah. Sticking up for the people and showing that, hey, we don't need to steal all our customers' information and control our customers and sell them out to authority figures the minute they come knocking on our door, right? That's the kind of stuff that I respect. Let's actually move on to the final question here. So the final question of the night: what classification would be most beneficial for all cryptocurrencies? Would it be a currency, security, commodity, etc.? What would you classify cryptocurrency as the most optimal way? Take it away, Mark.
Okay, well, I'll put this through my platypus test, right? My platypus effect, I call it. And the platypus effect, and I'm just making this up right now, so it'll be good if you guys like to use it. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, is it always a duck? Put in the chat. 1 for yes, 2 for no. I'd say no, 2 for no, because here's a platypus. A platypus is a mix between a beaver, a duck, a poisonous reptile, and some other creature. And so, at the end of the day, if it looks like a security, it acts like a security, it may not end up being a security. It may just have to be a currency, because that was the original intent of it. And that original intent of cryptocurrency needs to stay its original intent. Let the main thing be the main thing. If you change it too much, it completely derails what the original intent was. So I say it needs to stay currency 100%.
I love what you said there, right? I love that you said the original intent, right? With Bitcoin.
Yeah,
and some
I mean, even
Ethereum,
white papers can be changed and manipulated, but the original intent was, let's put the power back in the people's hands. Screw the government, right? And that's I think that's where we need to keep it.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. The original intent, and that is one of the reasons why I'm such a hater on XRP, right? Why I'm so hard on it, because the original intent was never for the people. The original intent was making business with banks and empowering banks to come into the crypto space as a Trojan horse.
And XRP
people see
is
it like,
not even a crypto.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I love it. Nick, take it away, bro.
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Let me say this real quick.
That's all that Kool-Aid from the XRP people.
I know, right? I've drank too much of it. So let me tell you the mission of the SEC versus the CFTC, and this is how they say this. So the mission of the SEC is to protect investors, maintain fair, orderly, and efficient markets, and facilitate capital formation.
There goes that throw up again.
The mission of the CFTC, which is the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, is to promote integrity, resilience, and vibrancy of the U.S. derivatives markets through sound regulation. Now, I could read that 3 more times, but I can tell you this. The CFTC, okay, I believe that actually what the best thing for crypto would be, and I started to allude to this a little bit ago, would be a commodity, okay? So a commodity, here's why. So currency, if you construe it as a currency, it's going to have built-in limitations as it relates to volatility, right? Currency, you can't go to the store and be buying bread one day and it's $2.50, and then the next day you're like, oh, I can't buy bread today, it's $14, right? And so
It's called inflation. It's happening right now.
It needs to have some sort of stability, right? The great thing about a commodity is it can change rapidly, right? And then and commodities values at their core, they come from need and scarcity, right? Which is exactly what cryptos bring to the table. The SEC is going to stifle innovation, so we get them the heck out of the way, right? I've been talking about security, but what I really want is for them to be deemed commodities, right? We get the SEC out of the way. They're going to stifle innovation. The CFTC is going to regulate, but not the same kind of oversight and goals in mind. They want to have, as they say, sound regulation in the derivatives market and promote integrity, resilience, and vibrancy. That is not at all anything that the SEC has ever said or will ever say, period.
Can I rebuttal?
Yes, take it away.
So the problem with commodities is they can be controlled, and the price can be controlled, and the price can be driven up or the price could be driven down. And although we kind of see that in the markets now, in the crypto market, with crypto whales doing the same thing, they're acting like a security. People are sometimes even treat them like a security, but they need to come to a point where they can be used as a form of currency. So I want to buy something with Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin needs to be pinned to something, I believe, right? Or else it's just, that's a whole nother debate we can get into. But commodities can be fluctuated and manipulated just as securities can be manipulated. So that's my fear and my hesitation when looking at crypto as a commodity. Look at oil prices. If the Middle East or if Russia cuts off the pipeline and doesn't deliver any more gas, the price of crude oil is going to go skyrocketing, which means our gas that's $3 now is going to be $10 in a week from now, so that's my hesitation with the whole commodity thing.
Do you hold cryptocurrencies, Mark?
I do. I will not disclose how much I hold, but I hold.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I don't think
it. I do for sure. Yeah, I don't hold any XRP. I did back in the day. I really liked what they were doing, but it just got too. They were trying to get too regulated and just it was for me, at least for my personal taste. So I try to stick to the deregulated cryptos.
Well, the reason I ask is just because, like, when I got into cryptocurrencies, I'd love to tell you that it was for the tech, and that's why I got in. That's BS. I got in because I saw the future happening in front of me and the ability to make money, right? The problem, if we go and take this technology, which is what ultimately we're talking about, a bunch of different new technologies, and they solve different problems, and we monetize that as a currency, which needs to be stabilized. Now, all of a sudden, you can throw out the window the ability, because we make money from that volatility. Traders make it off of volatility, right? Long-term hodlers make it off of volatility. So although there are some cryptos that would make sense as a currency, like I would love to see Bitcoin as the world reserve currency, right? That will ultimately stabilize things. And Bitcoin at its core gets its intrinsic value from its supply and demand, right? The dollar no longer has anything that backs it. So I don't really think it needs anything to back it. But yeah, so I just think that it takes away the ability for us to make money on that innovation with the technology. And I think if it is a currency, yeah, it's great, and people trade currencies, you've got the Forex guys and stuff like that, but I ultimately think that it is going to vastly change the continued innovation if it's like, it's a currency.
Well, let me ask you a question. Did Satoshi Nakamoto originally create Bitcoin knowing that it was going to be used to make money, or did he create it wanting to exchange it in a monetary exchange for one good or service?
No, he absolutely made it as a form of sound money. And I believe that that's what Bitcoin can and should be. And I think that Bitcoin operates as, you know, as or can operate as a currency. I think that almost all of the other, not all of them, but the vast majority of them are various types of technology that ultimately people, you know, should be able to, you know, gain and ultimately lose money on. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to bring out a point to the what Mark was saying about commodities being heavily, you know, manipulated. Look what we've seen with gold, right? Gold is a commodity. Gold doesn't move, even though we've seen the highest amount of inflation in the last 2 years ever, right? Breaking 40-year highs of inflation. Where's gold? All you gold bugs out there, I don't see how your portfolio is doing so well, right?
Right.
Same thing with diamonds, right? Diamonds, you know, are controlled by people that give all this value to diamonds, but it's controlled by like 5 big corporations worldwide. They regulate how much goes into the market, how much stays out of the market to be able to keep prices up or down, and they do that with all commodities. So, one thing, you know, yes, yeah, Mark brought up a good point about whales doing this, but it's a little bit different when there's more of a decentralized thing of anyone could be a whale, right? Anybody can be a whale. Not anyone can be a corporation that manipulates things the way corporations do with commodities. So I think, you know, the whole thing about currencies and not making enough money, everything isn't about making money. Things about solving problems. And I like that point. You know, the original intent is to solve a payment solution, the double spend issue, and bring decentralization or steal power away from these middlemen banks that control you to having a system, a payment solution. No matter how slow people complain about Bitcoin is, it solves the issue. If you want to make a transaction, whether it takes 30 minutes or not on a bad day for Bitcoin, the transaction will go through. And there is no one that tells you can't do that transaction. We're blocking it. We're taking it back. We're freezing your accounts. We're seizing this from you because we don't like what you're doing. No one can do that. No matter how slow Bitcoin is, it still solves a massive issue. And that's what it was for.
Yeah,
for
it was to
issue.
solve a problem, not to make money. But hey, we're all, you know, generally speaking, everybody wants to make money. And so we did it with gold. We did it with other, you know, resources. We did it with oil. So at the end of the day, we're going to try to find a way to make money no matter what.
Yeah.
But I think eventually we can get to the place where Bitcoin stabilizes, right? Where Bitcoin's finally completely mined. And now it comes to some sort of stabilization, maybe like gold. Maybe it's going to be a store of wealth, like a store of money like gold is. But right now it's too volatile. It's all over the place.
I mean, and it's young, right? People talk about volatility, but Bitcoin's been around for 13 years.
Yeah.
The dollar's been around for a lot longer, and look at the volatility it has. It only goes one way, down. It doesn't go up. It only goes down. So I would take Bitcoin's volatility up and down versus the dollar's straight trajectory down.
I don't think Ripple will ever get there where it will become a currency because there's too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak, for lack of better words, with the corporation behind it, with the central bank. You know, they're always going to try to make more money from it. So it's gonna probably always act like a security.
Yeah, I think it's been a really interesting, you know, run, and I think it will continue to be interesting depending on what happens here. Right, everyone on this panel can agree that there are question marks. Right, no matter what, you know, no matter how you feel strong about any of what any of us said, no one could say, well, Nick was right or Mark was right or Miguel was right, because the reality is this is going to take lawyers and judges and people and blah, you know, it's going to take a long amount of interpretation, a long amount of time for this to really come to fruition as to what is what.
But you know what we can do is vote.
Buy more
see
Bitcoin.
who took the debate tonight. So I'm going to be setting that up real soon. Give me a second here, guys. I just want to call out this super chat. Sean, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, whether you like it or not, or don't like XRP, we can all agree this is a great debate. Just wanted to make a small donation for the senseis. Fight the power.
Miguel,
Sean's the man.
We greatly appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Sean. And so, Miguel, while you set that up, I want to throw this out there. So, Mark, where can our followers find you? Can you give us just a brief little quick synopsis of what you're doing? because we really appreciate having you on, man.
Absolutely. I'm in the financial services industry right now. So I'm a licensed life insurance broker. I've been running a business with my wife for several years now. I am primarily on TikTok. I have about 500,000 followers on TikTok, and I just teach people about money and ways to save and invest and stuff like that. Personal finance stuff. So you can find me at money.smart on TikTok. And the same thing with YouTube. I have smaller channel, about 13,000, and I'm starting to ramp up again. And it's just my name, Mark Casara on YouTube. But feel free. Anybody has any questions, you guys reach out. I'm more than happy to help.
Dude, thank you very much. We are we're
and
glad that you're able to come on, and I'll tell you what.
CryptoKeeper, I've been following a while, man. You're killing it. I love everything that you're doing. You got a good balance in what you're talking about. And BlockchainCrusader, you just earned a new follower tonight, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I like
definitely
you a lot.
following you back as well. I love the points that you brought up in this debate. I mean, this is what I love about the debates. You learn about new people, right? Like I had never seen your content before, right? And Nick brought it up to my attention. By the way, guys, the voting that is in the poll is in the chat, right? On YouTube. Vote who you think took it away, Nick or Mark. We'll be closing that out real soon. But yeah, I love these debates because bring new people on, meet new people, and then just get a whole new perspective, right? A whole new perspective. So
it's definitely
taking the time.
It's definitely fun. I this is the first time that I have been on the, I've been being the moderator and this, that, and the third. I loved being able to get in there with some of the action. And Mark, I got to tell you, the debating side of it was fantastic tonight. I like when someone can just hold their ground, not like just continually giving up or whatever, giving up space or push pull. And dude, it's been great having you on. And
man, I appreciate you having me on, man. I really do. It's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have you on again. It sounds like maybe we have some more discussions to have.
NFTs, maybe NFTs.
Yeah. We've got actually real quick, Miguel, while they're finishing up with the chat, everybody in the chat, just want to let you guys know, DZ is coming on this coming Saturday. DZ from Around the Blockchain, right? BitBoy Crypto's one of BitBoy Crypto's guys is coming on to discuss NFTs with the second person. We think we might know who it is, but I can't throw that out there yet because we're not positive. But the reality is we are having an NFT debate. DZ has confirmed, and we're waiting for that second person. Guys, we're going to continue until we figure out that maybe we need to do it on a better day. We're going to be continuing to do these Saturday nights. I know maybe we're cutting into your time out or whatever, but we appreciate all the support from each and every one of you. And if nobody's told you before today, guys, I love you. Miguel loves you, and I'm speaking for Mark too. Mark loves you too. We love you guys.
I love you.
Miguel, what do we got?
All right, so it looks like, let me see, let me close this out. So, guys, 5 more seconds for anybody out there watching to if they can vote. But, let's give those 5 seconds real quick. And time's up. So, the results are in, and okay, so not a lot of people voted. Which I'm disappointed. There's 52 people here. Only about 20 people voted or so.
Wow.
It was close. But unfortunately, a lot of people in the chat are drinking the XRP Kool-Aid, and they have decided with Nick, the Crypto Keeper, that he has won.
Yeah, but I got an unfair advantage. This is like mine and yours platform. So at least I got a little bit of unfair juice there.
You got them all riled up with the XRP stuff.
Hey, you don't want to keep bringing up XRP. I just was going along with the questions. You kept bringing up XRP.
You can't have a securities debate and not bring up XRP. Come on.
Crypto fam, make sure you guys all smash the likes. If you are not subscribed, make sure that you guys subscribe. Down below, we've got MoneyMark's information. All of that is there. We appreciate all of your support. As I told you before, guys, we love you. Question everything.
Trust nothing.
And until next time, hodl
like it's hot.